big world. Ian Axel and Chad King, welcome to Feedback.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Really nice to be here.
Well, we're so glad that you are. Wow, that's a Pride theme, isn't it? This is Pride Month, and we were just hearing Boys in the Street, and it's difficult. It's difficult to hear that song because that's the way it really is out there. Tell me about doing that song.
Yeah, we we were on tour with our friend Greg Holden, and I think it was one of the first times he was like debuting the song, and it was the first time I heard it side stage, and I remember just being like kind of like sucker punched. Like I just did not know what just happened. I was bawling just from the first listen, and I was like, oh my God, we need to cover this. I need to sing this. I felt like this message, this song is just so powerful. I don't know. I wanted to spread it as much as I could and help spread it. Yeah. So we recorded it. So we got in the studio, maybe a year later, and now we're releasing it.
You mentioned crying when you heard it, but how emotional did it get during the recording process of this song?
Oh, it was really emotional. At the time, I was taking acting classes, and
so you're very raw.
So like one of the things was like really diving into like the heart of the emotion, and I was practicing this song in the class, and getting to that last verse, like when my daddy's dying verse, like that, like in the studio, I had to like really just swim in that moment, and I broke down in the studio too. And we just did a music video for the song, and it came to that last verse, and I went right back to the feelings again, and I just broke down in that last verse in the video, and yeah.
Well, what's the reaction been like? Have you been getting reactions so far? Because I have to imagine that a lot of people identify with that song.
Yeah, we released it today, and already are getting so many amazing comments and responses. And on YouTube alone, there are people who are identifying in ways that I identified with the song, talking about how their childhood was a sort of a traumatic experience for them, and the song gives them comfort to know that like they weren't alone and they aren't alone. And I don't know, just reading these stories on the YouTube comments, at least today, has been amazing.
Yeah, the YouTube comments can be a scary place, but when it's a song like this with a message like this, it's, I would hope and think that it would only be like fostering of community. So it's nice to hear that.
Mm.
Are you guys doing any Pride performances with that song?
You know what, we haven't performed in such a long time. I don't think we're doing no like live performances on the books right now, but I mean a lot of like kind of like Zoom performances or like Instagram performances, or things like that. But we're really itching to get back out there, and to kind of rediscover ourselves, that part of ourselves.
Is Pride, like, I wonder, Pride was canceled last year, right? So this year it's like the first, it's opening up, but I guess it's not the way it has been, right? Like we're not fully back to Pride the way it's usually in all cities across the world, just like this major Rio carnival, right? Everywhere you go. And it's interesting because I think when we think of Pride, we think of disco anthems and we think of extravagance and just like out on this is the reality side of Pride too. This is the real sad reality of what it's like to grow up gay in America in certain places still.
Yeah, I love that the world, that it is, although it is changing, like that experience that I think Boys in the Street captures is still relevant. It's still happening and still being experienced, and that I think is I'm really proud that we are able to have a song like this to put out into the world, to let people know that they're not alone and to let them connect. Yeah,
Definitely.
Well,
like Lori
you
said,
guys-
oh, go ahead.
No, you go, Lindsay.
I was just going to say, I love the contrast to the very out there dance pop pride songs. This is, to me, like the gay piano bars in the West Village. This is where you're going to hear that after the parade.
yeah.
You know, like arm in arm, people really bonding.
I hope so.
That's my vision for it, absolutely. But I was going to ask, all of this being considered, what we're talking about, the tone and sincerity of the song, why did it make sense as a lead single?
Sorry, my dad was calling me right in the middle of this question. Wait,
is he calling you to make sure that you talk about him?
I don't know.
Yes.
I had asked why it made sense as, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the lead single of the upcoming album. So I was curious why it made sense to open with this.
I think I mean, a lot of it was timing. There were a lot of just factors out of our control that were delaying the release of our record, and then when we finally were able to, this month was coming up, and it didn't make sense to release any other song for us, and also our album. It's like it's so emotional. We were as vulnerable as we possibly could be when writing and recording the songs, and we feel like this song in a lot of ways is like a really good like tone setter. And I mean, it's not all that heavy, but it's a really great intro to the body of work that we're so excited to release.
Well, let me take a moment to reintroduce you. I'm talking with Chad and Ian from A Great Big World. Me and Lindsay are talking to them. And you guys listening, probably know their big hit, Say Something, Grammy-winning song with Christina Aguilera. And I just remember when that song came out, it killed me. It was so raw and so sparse, like out on the radio. But Christina, she's known for going everywhere with that big voice of hers, and she really dialed it back to great effect on that record. Is that something you Christina? I mean, I've known Christina over the years. She's not someone you give direction to. Is that something you mentioned to her very subtly in the studio? How did you get that performance out of her?
I mean, honestly, it was all her. And when we met her, we met her in the studio when we recorded it, and we had ideas. Me and Chad had ideas in our head of how it could go. But we didn't talk about it, and she just wanted to just hit record and see what happened, and that was her first kind of take on it. And she just, and when she started singing, we're like, oh, this is what this is. Like, it was nothing that we were thinking, and it felt like so perfect, like almost like we had heard, like, this is the way it's supposed to be. It was always supposed to be this, and it was that's all her.
Yeah, that was her idea. She came into the studio and was like, I want to see what this would sound like. So we were like, okay.
Well, I was at the Grammys the first time when she won Best New Artist, which was sort of a surprise. But when I've talked to her, she has said that winning the Grammy for this song with you guys for Best Pop Duo, Group, or Performance was almost more meaningful in a way. And I think partially because she hadn't really done a lot of music up until then. She went away for a number of years. She did The Voice. But you guys really brought her back. Was she your first choice?
I mean, I feel like doing a collaboration with Christina was so far out of the realm of possibility that it wasn't even on our radar. And when we put this song out, it was without her, and at first, and it was kind of finding its way. It was on So You Think You Can Dance, and it was like a little buzzy, and then I guess someone played it for her, and our manager called us, was like, so are you guys sitting down? Like, how do you guys feel about Christina Aguilera recording with you and doing a song with you? And like, we like totally freaked out. I'm like, what? Like, why does she want to sing with me? Like, what is happening? But I think it's like the most unlikely duo in a lot of ways, and it's so perfect. And I don't know. It's there's this. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was gonna say something too. When the label came to us and was like, "Say Something" is the next single, we were like, we totally argued with them on that. We were like, "There's no way! It's so slow. No one will ever connect with that." And then, yeah, and then
it surprised us. It was the last song we ever thought. I think for a lot of people, because of there's so much space and so much silence in that song between the notes, it's like, and I feel like in a lot of ways at that time, it was like the perfect storm, and the silence of it was really loud on the radio.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you hear the silence, and it's just that idea that it's called Say Something, but the things you don't say in that song are super powerful. Matt's pulling it up just to remind listeners about the beauty of this song, Say Something. 5, 6 years later, and 6, 7 years later, and you see us, and I wonder if that's a gift to you as songwriters, like how we're so moved as many times as we've heard that song.
I mean, it's definitely the biggest gift. It feels kind of out of body for me when I hear it. Like, I recognize that that's us, but it almost feels like it's not. Like it's someone else performing that song. I don't know. It's like I think I've heard it so many times. I haven't heard it in a while actually, but I've heard it so many times in my life that when you say a word over and over again, and then you stop hearing the word. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but it's like I've heard it so many times that like I hear it as like a song that exists in the world that I don't necessarily sing, if that makes any sense. It's like a weird experience.
But Boys in the Street does the same thing. Boys in the Street does the same thing. Like, you guys have mastered this thing that like gets your heart in your throat. You make us really feel, and that isn't something. We were just talking about Ed Sheeran a few minutes ago, and I mean, I know he does the same thing in a lot of ways, but I feel like there are people who come along and who do it in a way that they're out to do it. You do it almost accidentally, like, I'm trying to think of Dan and Shay do it as well. And the fact that Andrea Bocelli sings one of your songs, and his son, right?
Yeah.
He heard that. He knew that you do that as well, because Andrea Bocelli doesn't even have to sing in English, and he gets me. Tell me about getting him to do one of your songs.
Thank you for saying all that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's true. Fall on Me, the song that and Christina's on that too, right?
Yeah. We ended up doing a version with Christina.
Andrea, how did that happen, Ian? I
think someone on his team just reached out to us, and I mean, I think they had heard obviously Say Something and wanted a ballad, and thought we could write something, and it was you know, yeah, I mean, what a crazy honor that I feel like he has like the voice of God, and you know what I mean. And it's like he's singing our music. It was just so mind blowing that and you know, and we've gotten the opportunity to write for him again. So we ended up writing another song for him too that he sings with Ellie Goulding, and you know, it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun to be able to do this. It doesn't feel real.
I do feel like the people you collaborate with don't go away, and I think that's a testament to you two. I'm just curious, how important is that, you know, once you do make a creative relationship with somebody, to not like intentionally foster it, but to, you know, prioritize it over the years and make sure it's not like a thanks for helping us get a hit and see you later, you know?
Yeah, I feel like whenever we collaborate with someone, they become part of our family. And I don't know how to. It's like, even if we don't have like even if we haven't met them or don't, you know, it just, they're just part of our story. They're a chapter in our lives, and you know, I don't think. I mean, I feel like Chad and I are like, we're collaborators. Like we've been working together, the two of us, since we met in college, and we only know how to collaborate, and we value those relationships so much. Like people we work with become like pillars in our lives in a lot of ways.
Is there a different sense of pride, or I don't even know how to phrase it, but when you put out a song for yourself and it does well versus when you write a song and someone else puts it out and it does well? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Chad.
I still get the same feeling. I mean, to me, the song, me and Ian really we appreciate the song and the songwriting process, and to be able to deliver a song as it was written is like the biggest honor. To be able to hear someone else deliver our version of that song is the biggest honor, and it's still it hits me in the gut. Like, even just listening to Say Something, you know, it's been a while, but like just listening to Say Something hit me in the gut, like the way it hit me in the gut when me and Ian were writing that song. And I think, and I got the same feeling when I heard Fall on Me and Andrea Bocelli singing Fall on Me. Like the same thing happened then, where like I would feel like that was hitting me in the gut, just like it hit me in the gut when we were writing Fall on Me. So I think for me, it comes down to like the songwriting.
It's less pressure when someone else cuts your song, for sure. Like I mean, there is a nice feeling, and it's like therapeutic in a way of like letting it go and like not having control over it. And it's, I mean, especially for me with like my OCD mind, it's a lot less stressful. Like there's something I can do.
Right.
But as you say, there's a compliment there in that there's it's almost like you're getting rewarded twice. You're proud of the song, and then there's a compliment that an artist like Bocelli wants to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like almost.
Holy cow. Christina Aguilera, Andrea Bocelli, but most of all, A Great Big World. The new single is called Boys in the Street. This is a song you got to stream for Pride Month. It's important. It's important. Thank you, Chad and Ian from A Great Big World, for being on Feedback today. We appreciate you guys.
So much.
Thank
The
you,
cry
guys.
test. If you don't cry when you listen to their music, they got to start again.